Hey guys, I've been evaluating FedEx routes for over a decade now, and someone recently asked on whether it was worth even pursuing or inquiring about a listing that was severely overpriced for one of these FedEx routes. And so the reality is we have to think about where we are currently in terms of valuation to figure out what's overpriced. So we know that if we aggregate all the FedEx routes across the country that are for sale, average them all up, see what those multiples are, we know that we're right about 3.8 to 3.9 times the net income, right? So it's 3.9x multiple is what we're typically seeing right now in early 2023. So whenever we see these ones that are overpriced, let's say it's a 5x or a 6x, what we're really trying to figure out is why that's happened. So there's a few different reasons why we see those listings pop up. One is that brokers will try to get more deals under their belt. They will try to get more listings to get bigger and seem bigger. And so they will call up contractors and sellers and say, hey, we can sell your route for you. They say, hey, we're not interested. We don't want to sell right now. We got a great business. It's profitable. No. And the broker says, what if we could sell it for 6 times the net income? Would you be a seller then? Because everything's for sale then, right? And so the seller says, you know what? If you can get 6x or find somebody crazy enough to pay that, sure. I'll sell. I'll sell then, right? So the broker says, great, sign this listing or whatever. And they get in there and, of course, no one's really interested at 6x, or someone might end up inquiring about it. They offer 5x, which is still overpriced, and the seller says, no, I'm not interested. They don't negotiate one penny because they were never really serious about selling. These people, these sellers, they're the minority in terms of the average sort of situation that we see out there in terms of overpriced listings, right? So that's the minority. The other situation that we see is that a broker will be new or a broker will be bossed around by the seller. The seller calls up the broker and says, man, I love this business and I'm ready to sell. Broker says, how much? They say 6x. Broker says, I don't know if we can get that. Well, if you want my listing and you want my business, you're going to sell it for 6x. And they put it on there. No one's really interested. And then over time, whenever he realizes that no one's actually bidding that much, he drops the price, he negotiates, and quite a bit from there. So the point is we see sellers kind of boss brokers around. Brokers obviously should be showing the seller what their business is worth a lot of times, and that's obviously what a broker does. It's one of the values that a broker brings to the table. But anyway, that's that. The other situation is the broker calls up and says, hey, I know that you're looking at a lot of different brokers to put your route on the market with. I know other brokers are telling you that you can get 3.9, but we're the best. We're going to be able to sell it for 6 times the net income. Just sign right here. And the guy says, well, you guys do seem pretty big. You guys seem pretty great. Maybe you can get me 6x. I see some of these other listings in this. So they sign the listing agreement. A couple months pass. It doesn't sell. And the broker says, oh, Mr. Seller, the market's really spoken here. The environment right now with Amazon, the economy, inflation or whatever. And they drop the price. So what happens is that sometimes the brokers are pulling people in to get these high valuations so they can get extra listings. Sometimes the brokers get pushed around by sellers that don't know the accurate valuation of their business. The other thing that to remember is that some of these businesses do deserve to be overpriced. They've got brand new fleets or whatever. They've got $500,000 worth of brand new trucks. Okay, maybe it should be priced at that. So not every single listing that you see is overpriced just because the multiple is higher. Yeah, a lot of times it is overpriced, but not always. And it's worth inquiring about what's going on with each of these situations. Is the seller really serious and wants to sell, but just doesn't know his valuation? Did the broker kind of like blow smoke to get him to sign the listing agreement with him? And then now the seller is going to negotiate later on. Again, maybe he's not interested in selling. They're not going to negotiate. And maybe sometimes it is worth it. Maybe the fleet's great. Maybe this or that, right? So there's a lot of different things that can sort of pop up. A lot of times when we see the majority and the biggest negotiations that we see, that's the ones that are coming in that are very overpriced, and that's where we see huge amounts of movement. So the point is, I wouldn't let any overpriced listing stop you from inquiring about the business and moving forward. Yes, there are some people in there that will not negotiate a penny, but out of all those situations that I just described, that's the smallest percentage, and the majority of people will negotiate. How they got into that price doesn't really matter. The point is, they will negotiate a lot of times back to reasonability, and just take some time to dig into it, figure out why they decided to price it as high as it was to begin with. negotiate from there, and keep on moving forward. So anyway, hopefully this helps out a little bit. If you guys got any questions or comments, drop them below, and I will try to do my best to respond back to those. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.